there, Lariane with Pink Dahlia Soaps here. Welcome to Soapy Things, a place where I make things other than cold processed soap. On today's episode, we are making these beautiful solid sugar honey scrubs. I mean, really, who would not enjoy receiving these as a gift or using them for themselves? These are so cute, they smell wonderful, and they do a pretty good job at exfoliating your body. Let's get right into making these. You will need a mold of your choice. I chose this hexagon one because it looks like a honeycomb. 6 ounces of granulated sugar. Yes, just plain sugar that you bake with. I'm using 2.5 ounces of avocado oil, but you can also use grapeseed, argan, almond, rice bran, olive, really any oil you have on hand. 5 ounces of honey melt and pour soap base. 0.3 ounces of fragrance oil. I'm using this lemon honey one from Brambleberry. Colorant is optional. I'm using this 24 karat gold from TKB Trading. Another optional ingredient that I'm using is half a teaspoon of vitamin E oil, and that's just because it's great for the skin. And finally, you're going to want some type of jar to store your beautiful sugar scrubs. I purchased these ball jars from Michael's, and the other jars I will link below. The first thing you want to do is measure out your 6 ounces of sugar. You could put the sugar through a sifter to make sure there aren't any big chunks, or you can just do what I did and take a spoon and kind of smash them up. Next, you want to measure out 5 ounces of the honey melt and pour soap base. Measure 2.5 ounces of your choice oil. Now cut your melt and pour soap into smaller pieces so that they melt quicker, and add them to the oil. Add your 0.3 ounces of fragrance, and I must say this lemon honey fragrance from Brambleberry smells just like lemon and honey. It smells so good. I almost want to drink it, but don't drink it. If you are using vitamin E oil, go ahead and add that half teaspoon now. And finally, add your colorant if you're using it. You're doing all this before you even melt the soap, because once you add the sugar to this, it begins to harden very quickly. Go ahead and mix all of your ingredients together. Make sure that colorant is dispersed completely before you even put it in the microwave. Once everything is mixed well, you want to microwave it in 30-second increments, stirring after each 30 seconds. It could be less depending on your microwave. Just keep an eye on it so that it doesn't start to boil and burn. But you do want all of the soap melted completely. It took about 1 minute and 10 seconds for me to get it to this consistency. Let's add the 6 ounces of sugar. Mix, mix, mix. Quick. Be quick. Mix it in there. Try to get it incorporated as best as you can before it starts to harden, and get it into your mold. If it does harden up on you before you can get it into the mold, you can microwave it in 5-second increments to try to get it into a pourable consistency. You don't want to get your mixture too hot, otherwise it will melt your sugar, and then you'll be left with sugar soap instead of sugar scrub. So try to fill in your mold and smooth the top out as best as you can. You'll see a little bit later how I do trim the top of the soap before I remove it from the mold, so don't worry too much about getting it extra level. So once you're done filling your mold, you can let it sit for a few hours, or you can do what I did and put it in the freezer for about 30 to 40 minutes. Here is the soap about an hour later. I took it out of the freezer after about 40 minutes, and then I let it sit for about 20 minutes. And I'm taking an angled spatula and just kind of trimming wherever I feel like it needs to be trimmed. Time to unmold. And I did find that these little scrubs unmolded perfectly, very easily. Aren't these just the cutest little scrubs you've ever seen? I really love the way these came out. And just a quick idea, once you wash and sterilize your jars, fill them up, and you can put your own printed label, or you can do what I'm doing. I'm using a piece of craft colored cardstock, a 2-inch paper punch, and this one right here. I find it easy to punch it upside down, that way I can get right to the edge of the paper and waste less paper this way. I cut 3 of these 2-inch rounds, and then I'm taking a hole punch and I'm hole punching all 3. You take any kind of paint, markers, or regular markers, whatever you want, and just write. I wrote the name of the product, the directions, and then this one I could put the ingredients or any other little message you want. Took some of this jute that I purchased from Walmart and wrapped it around the top, attached the tags, tied a little bow, and done. You do want to store these in a cool location. You don't want to store these in your bathroom. Just take 1 or 2 pieces with you to the bath or shower and use on elbows, knees, any rough patches. I wouldn't recommend using these on your face though. And there you have it, a very simple but beautiful handmade gift that you can be proud to give to anyone. And I'm sure they'll be happy to receive it. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Soapy Things. Feel free to like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, or leave a comment below. And I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.